So Mazda says they're going to send us a CX-30 to drive, and I'm looking at the prices. Starting at $23,725, and for the deluxe model with everything, $35,925. Wow, that's a lot of dough. And that's the one they sent, loaded up with all the factory goodies, everything you want, or maybe don't want. Let's just do a scroll down. Woo! And the total of shipping. And where's this fine Japanese car made? There you go. Alright, we're at our test facility and storage bin. Let's roll out this Mazda and see what it looks like. Not a bad looking vehicle. The dark blue paint looks nice, but maybe not the right shade for the middle of summer where it's 114 degrees outside. Doesn't reflect the heat too well. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And the view from the rear. Well, the first things we want to do when we get a vehicle is check to see if there's a spare tire. So let's look under the cargo floor, and yep, there is one there. Handy to know if you're going off-road. And as we do in all our videos, we'll be taking these headlights out in the dark and see how they perform. That'll be part 3, the bonus section of this video. So don't go away. There are 2 engines available in the CX-30. Base is a 2.5 liter, 189 horsepower with fuel economy of 24 in the city, 31 on the highway, and 26 overall, they claim. This is the upgraded turbo. 2.5 liters, 227 horsepower on standard fuel, 250 on premium. Fuel economy is about the same, 22 in the city, 30 on the highway, 25 overall. Use only 1 MPG. We'll take this out in the real world and see what the real numbers are. I've driven these before, getting around 21 in mixed driving, around 25 to 27 on the highway. I've driven this for 3 days and 28.8 in mixed commuting, about the norm. They didn't tell me if they put regular or premium in here though. It'd be better with premium blend in this engine, but this is what it is for the moment. That brings up another issue, the 12-gallon fuel tank, which does not do much for range. I only put 47 miles on this, and I'm already looking at 140 miles left. That's not very much. 113 degrees this morning. Wow. Cooler than I thought it'd be. In addition to the small fuel gauge, there are a couple other gripes I have. Minor, but we have to talk about them anyway. For instance, the seats do fold down to make cargo room, but the distance between here and the roof is only like a couple feet. You put long things in, but not very tall, as I found out the hard way. Be sure to measure before you try to transport. Also, this vehicle has a heads-up display. A little hard to see in this bright sun. But the problem is, this is the only vehicle on the planet where you can't turn this off. It's permanent. Well, semi-permanent. Yes, if you get on the info screen, you can turn it off by pushing the magic button. Like so. Problem is, when you turn the car off and back on again, this comes on again, and so does the heads-up display. See, there it is again. If you like watching that, that's fine, but I don't. I want a switch that turns it off permanently, which I can't, so I have a good solution. I've done other Mazdas. Just get in your sock drawer, get some dark socks, and jam it down the hole. Like so. Last time I did this, I forgot to take my socks out when they picked up the vehicle. I guess they're still there a year later. And that, my friends, is the only way to permanently disconnect the heads-up display. They call it the active driving display, same thing. Problem solved. In the meantime, the glove box is medium size. More room if you take the owner's manual out, of course. Very simple climate control system. Just a few knobs and buttons. The control knob for the infotainment system, pretty simple to use. And a nice gauge cluster, but certain angles of the day you won't be able to see too much. Why do they put these plastic covers on here? You know this is going to happen. Overall, the quality and workmanship's pretty good, but this is the deluxe model with all the fancy leather, so it should be. And a sport button for brisk driving. Don't tell me the console is dirty. I know that. It's a desert. That's why you get dust. Okay, enough show and tell. Let's do some driving. I noticed the speaker system and the stereo reflects in the dash, and the housing for the heads-up display does too. Nothing serious. You'll get used to it. Mazda vehicles have always had excellent power steering, quick, responsive, decent feel of feedback, and that's what we have here. No complaints from me. As far as ride quality goes, Mazda wants you to have 38 pounds in the front, 36 pounds of air in the rear tires. Personally, I think that's a ridiculous figure. It's not going to help ride too much. This is my vehicle, 33 in the front and 31 in the rear, would be more than adequate, but we're not allowed to modify vehicles. It gets Mazda upset, so we'll just run them like this, see what happens. The only reason car companies recommend high tire pressures nowadays is to increase fuel economy, less rolling resistance in the tires. Really don't need higher tire pressures to drive comfortably though. Here comes bump number 1. As we do in all our videos where we take the speed humps to see how the suspension performs on impact. Here comes bump number 2, a mild one. Number 3. And the tall, nasty one. A little on the stiff side, but nothing serious. This turbo engine's got a lot of power, especially if you put it in the sport mode. I can tell this has regular fuel, not premium. Nothing serious, but it will go quicker if you put in the 91 octane. Mazda vehicles are famous for their excellent cornering ability and other handling characteristics. So let's take a turning circle. See if we can spin this baby out. That all-wheel drive is really sticking. Body lean, but I don't think I'm going to be able to spin this out. Very impressive. So after a week of evaluation, what's my take on this Mazda CX-30? Well, I must admit the fuel economy was okay, about 21 in mixed commuting, about 27, 28 on the highway. That's with all-wheel drive. If you get two-wheel drive, you get slightly more. Maybe around 29 or 30, my past experience. But this mini 12-gallon fuel tank, 13 gallons, you get two-wheel drive. You'll be spending a lot of time at the gas station, almost as much as your neighbor's Hellcat. Come on, Mazda, can you give us at least a couple extra gallons? And sticking a sock down the heads-up display to turn it off is kind of cheesy, but it's the only way it works. And I know when they pick this car up tomorrow, I'm going to forget about this. But there's a whole bunch of Mazda CX-30s with black socks down there people don't know about. But these are minor complaints, probably an ideal killer for you. So if you're looking for a small SUV with great handling, good steering, good performance, this might be for you. And that includes our main road test, but our bonus footage, we're going to take these headlights out in the dark and see they perform and do some more night driving. So let's proceed. Okay, it's dark enough. Let's see what these lights do. Right now they're on low beam. Now we cranked it up a notch to high beam. A lot of glare coming out of that little hole. And here's what the taillights look like. And I see the emergency flashers are in the middle of the rear taillights. Not much going on in the front end with the emergency lights, that's for sure. Got more light coming off the mirror. Yeah, turning off the headlights helps a little bit, but not much going on here still. Definitely pretty good from the rear. Put the transmission in reverse, and we have a pretty bright screen here, even though it's not that big. Lights up pretty good, though. The rest of the vehicle does on the inside, although there's not much in here. And the power window controls on the door. And the instrument cluster. And the neighborhood hooker right on time. I'll pass. Now getting back to the headlights. Very bright, good height over the bushes. That's a good sign. Pretty good for a single bulb. We'll go to high beam. Not a wide spread, but definitely strong in the middle. And on the stark dingy street on regular beam, then high beam. These are pretty good headlights. By the way, if you have a Mazda CX-30, you might want to check and see if it has active front lighting system. The active headlight system means the headlights turn in the same direction as the steering wheel. Swiveling right if the steering wheel's right, swiveling left if the steering wheel's left. Great feature to have on tight mountain roads when you're taking tight corners, which unfortunately I cannot demonstrate right now. That is under the exterior lighting program on your menu. You may have it, you may not. You might want to check. Another feature I mentioned in my daytime video, I'm going to show you again now that we're out in the dark, the heads-up display in the windshield. As I mentioned earlier, can you disconnect this or not? Well, yes and no. You're getting the program, active driving display content. Yes, you can disconnect it. The problem is, you turn the car off, turn it back on, and this comes on again. Basically, you cannot turn it off permanently. Very unusual. The only way you can turn this off permanently is to take a bunch of dark socks. Yep, that's right, socks. Stick them down the hole. And now it's finally gone. I know that sounds silly, but hey, it's the engineer's fault at Mazda for not allowing us to turn it off, not mine. Complain to them. But now you know how to get rid of it. And it would be nice if we had a button to disconnect the auto-dimming mirror. I don't like these when I'm driving heavy city traffic, bikes out the mirrors, but we don't have a button. But if you put a piece of tape over the sensor hole, that's right here, you can turn it off that way. That's what I do. By the way, these active headlights are usually found only on very, very expensive cars. It's nice to see that Mazda is giving it to us on a less expensive car. But don't break them because they're very, very expensive to replace. If you do a lot of highway driving at night, I think you'll find these lights more than adequate. Lights up the road signs very good. As you can see. Even way down the road. Overall, I think the Mazda CX-30 passed our night drive test. So let's wrap this up. Good for lighting up dark, dingy streets like this, too.